instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Well, welcome, golfers. Here we go with another episode of the Flagstick Podcast with myself, Jeff Potter, and the other guy, Scott McLeod. Presented this week by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book your golf vacations at tee times at golfpei.ca. Get this stuff out of the way. Make sure you're following us across all social media platforms, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. And please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. We really encourage you, obviously, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell, ding, ding, so you never miss a single episode or anything else that we post up there. Yeah. Okay.
On that PEI front, I actually was just sending some other people down there.
Oh, nice.
People are still heading down there, going for
Why
vacations
not?
and stuff. So just chatting with a friend, had lunch the other day, and he's heading down on Saturday. And looking forward to it, and looking forward to going back. He is, and playing some of the golf courses he hadn't played before, because I think one of the issues for a lot of people is they get down there, it's, they're not running to PEI all the time.
No.
Although they should be. But when they go, they tend to, they get in 3 or 4 golf courses, and they don't always get to some of the other ones. And now that's what his plan is to get down there and play some of the golf courses he's missed on past trips, which is a great way to go about
Well, it's like any other vacation, any other golf vacation that you take. You go to a destination. There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many days in the week, and you can't play everything that's out there. And the thing with PEI is that there's a lot of really quality, well, like we said at the beginning, 400 fairways. There's a lot of quality golf across the whole island, and you can't get to, it's PEI is not a massive island. You can get from one end to the other pretty quickly, but to play golf in the process, you almost need a couple of weeks to play a good sampling of everything that's down there. And most people aren't taking a couple of weeks. They're taking a week, they're taking a weekend, they're taking 4 or 5 days. That's going to get you 3 or 4 rounds of golf, maybe at the most. Maybe if you're ambitious, you can squeeze 6 or 7 in, but
too many other things to do.
A lot of other things at PEI. Now, you could probably put the swimming aside on this trip.
Probably, actually, that was a topic of discussion. He's like, maybe a little late in the year for me.
Maybe. You might. The beach is always nice to see, but you can probably avoid the beach part if you like.
The water temps this time of year. It's warmish during the summer, but water temps are probably not great right now.
So there you go. Well, hope your friend has a nice time.
I hope he does.
Sure he will. We know what that's like.
Not bad right now. 18 degrees for the water temps in PEI.
So all right. That's awesome. Go golf. Just golf. Golf your brains out. Golf. Okay.
Golf, which is still lots happening here in September, and lots of tournaments, lots of events.
Oh my gosh.
Lots to talk about this.
It doesn't seem to, it seems like it's slowing down, but it isn't really. It's kind of like there's certain times of the year where there's certain seasons, and this is, you're kind of getting from the individual tournament season, then you get into intersectional season. Now you're into club team event season, and then we're starting to enter into scramble season. It's just, and it just keeps going. And then you get into those fall events where they're the crazy season, where they're doing these Ironman events in October when the courses aren't busy, and they're doing the cross country stuff where you're not playing the golf courses the way they were designed to be played. So there's endless possibilities when it comes to
and college golf, university golf.
College golf. I was watching the Folds of Honor.
Folds of Honor,
last night. The women's part of it last night finished up. It was quite the I know this is not on our topic, but quite the finish to the women's singles.
I didn't catch that.
Oh my gosh.
Side of it.
There was I'm not sure of all the players because I don't follow collegiate golf as much, but there was a young lady from, I think it was Arkansas, that was leading.
Yes,
And
I knew
there
that
was
one.
another lady from Florida State,
Okay.
and she was a shot behind. With 5 holes to play, the Florida State Seminole player makes a birdie, ties it. The other girl makes a bogey, drops
Okay.
out of the lead. Then the Florida State girl makes another birdie, and the other girl makes another bogey on the next hole. Then the Florida State girl makes another birdie, and then another birdie, and then
Wow.
finishes with another birdie. She finishes with 6 straight birdies.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
incredible. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? And the course they're
That's
playing
awesome.
is not like super easy.
No, no, not at
That's a
all.
tough golf course. And what a
Yeah.
gorgeous looking golf course, especially the aerial views when they show all the
Hmm.
waste bunkers and or waste areas and stuff like
Yeah.
that with all the little grass mounting and stuff. Pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Anyway,
On the men's side, I should mention our
I saw
own
Ashton Kutcher or
yeah,
Ashton Kutcher,
Ashton
Ashton McCulloch.
Kutcher. Did you see Ashton
Yeah,
Kutcher?
I was just saying. I
He
saw
was
Ashton McCulloch hit a couple of shots there. He had some
yeah.
TV time.
Yeah, he ended up tied for fourth. So he started his year with a T4 for his season at Michigan State. That's his senior season. So yeah, if people want more, we don't have a ton of notes in here on college stuff, but if they follow us on our X account, I definitely had some updates on a number of Canadians this week and some top results from there. So if you want to check that out, that's where we're usually updating some of that college stuff all the time and including Canadian stuff, which I'll be at a Canadian university event this weekend. So
Awesome.
mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. As we said, there's plenty of stuff still happening. We're gonna catch you up on what we know on the front nine, and including the opportunities that golf offers. And then in the back nine, as promised, we are going to discuss the Solheim Cup.
You got her.
That's what we did. All right, we promised. So let's get to the front nine, presented by Metcalf Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Still tons of golf left to be played this year, so make sure you purchase some of those 10, 20, or 30 game passes to keep on saving compared to regular green fees. Check out deals online. Visit metcalfgolf.com to book tee times and to shop now. All right. Getting a text, by the way, from Andre Boris from Ping. I know what it's about.
Oh, Ping Challenge Cup.
The Ping Challenge Cup is coming
next
up.
Weekend.
Sadly,
I know
I'm out. Unfortunately, it is kind of getting into the.
Are we going to be playing by phone? Are we doing picks back and forth?
Well, I said to Carol Ann, I said, we can do that kind of deal where we can lay obviously the matches out ahead of time.
And, for sure.
And then we can do a Zoom call or something to set the singles matches and whatnot. So we can probably pull that off. I think my schedule will allow for that.
We'll just let people know that's the the Flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa Tour. This is the Ping Challenge Cup. This is the head pros versus the assistant pros annual event. We get to be the honorary captains. Jeff on the head pro side, I on the assistant pro side. We are behind, I think 8-5, I believe.
I just know you're behind.
Yeah, whatever. So it's going to be at
probably going to be behind further after
well, we'll see.
Weekend.
Smuggler's Glen, you never know. Being held at 2 days, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm really bummed about missing it.
With you there.
Really bummed about missing it.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Can't change what it can't change.
No, as you said, it's getting into hockey season, which is busy for you. So we get into some conflicts and stuff like that, and that's just the way it is. You can't be everywhere's at once.
No. Definitely not. Okay,
we try to be.
We do try. Try a little less now that we're we're smarter. We work smarter.
is that it?
We work smarter, not harder.
I didn't feel that way this past week. Then we'll get to all that as we talked about a couple of different places I went to in a period of a few days. So yeah.
All right. Quick note. Congratulations to the team from Renfrew Golf Club, who won the 95th Gordon Cup on Sunday. Renfrew won for the 38th time. Yeah. So 95 Gordon Cups. Renfrew has won 38 of them.
Yeah, and it's their 95th anniversary at Renfrew Golf Club this year too. So
how good is that? And they beat the host club Sandpoint by 5. So somewhat close. sort
Yeah,
of,
it was a
5.
4-stroke lead after one day, and then they managed to increase it by one. And this is an event, 5 seems significant, but when you consider this is a 14-player team and they count the 12 best scores, that's a lot of strokes that are
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
So
definitely.
five is very close, actually.
Yes, yes. This is not like your typical like a collegiate event where you got
Mhm.
5 players in the field and they're
And you're
counting four
counting four.
scores. They,
Yeah.
this is counting a lot of numbers. So congratulations to Renfrew. Good job.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'll
and
have some follow up as well in the O'Brien Cup. I was just talking to Louise Mulvihill today, so I'll have some stuff on that
I
as well.
think
And that'll be up on the
Mississippi Golf
website.
Club is hosting the Gordon Cup next year.
Correct, they are.
So
Yes.
there you go. PGA Tour Americas wrapped up this past week at the TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley with the Fortinet Championship.
Yes.
And this was one of the journeys that Mr. McLeod took to go up and watch a good friend Noah
Yep.
Steele play and see that the changes that were made to TPC Toronto.
Unbelievable.
And so tell us.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Tell
mean,
us. While I drink my coffee, you tell
sure.
us.
I mean, it was good to get up there. I had been up there in the fall, and the clubhouse wasn't quite done yet. They were working on the changes in the course, which as you said, it's going to host the RBC Canadian Open next year. So, wanted to see how it was going to play, and really, this was a test event for them. And boy, oh boy, did the golf course hold up. 5 under won the championship, which is crazy. Only 7 players broke par for the week overall. It was cooler conditions than what they'll probably see, kind of next June. But 7,445 yards, par 70. The facility is incredible. I mean, again, we'll talk about the golf course first, but scoring average in the final round was 3 strokes over par. I mean, I just watched a lot of play, and I talked to a number of players, and they just said, it's a hard golf course to get strokes back. And, if you make a mistake and, you make a bogey or a double or worse, and believe me, there was a number of them, including guys like Stuart McDonald, who unfortunately made an 8 on the final day and ended up dropping him. His round in the final round, I think, was 78. He ended up dropping him from 7th to 11th and missed his Corn Ferry Tour card
Oh.
because of that. And if that 8, that would have been the difference in it. So there's just not a lot of birdie holes out there. They've reworked the greens a lot. They're still pretty firm. And it's a challenge, but they've done a fantastic job. It narrowed it up a little bit from what it was before. Some long par 4s. There's a couple in the 530 range. There's 4 of them over 500 yards. It's just a beast of a golf course, and not just it's interesting, and players can obviously, there was a 65, I think, during the week or whatever. You can score, and that was by Stu McDonald, who had 75, 65. But you've got to play some really quality golf. So I think it's going to be a much better test than people maybe thought it might be for the Canadian Open. The other side of it as well is the clubhouse is just unbelievable. And I think one of the things is it's not just the finishes and it's new and it's big. It's inside some of the touches, especially with the memorabilia that they brought up from the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame. And people should know that, they're working on a building up there over by the Heathlands course, which will they call it the home of Canadian golf, and the fact that it will be the home for Golf Canada, Golf Ontario, PGA of Canada. There's a bunch of different associations that are going to be in there, but in the meantime, they've used a lot of the memorabilia from the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame, which not a lot of people go to, not enough people go to, and they've used it to have displays throughout this clubhouse, and not just a couple. They're all over the place. The Olympic trophy is there. There's artifacts going back to the 1890s. The photography is beautiful. I went down in the men's locker room with Noah, and we had a look, and they have a whole bunch of lockers, and I assume they'll have that over on the women's side as well. They have a whole bunch of lockers that are clear, that they're kind of in between the other ones, and they have displays with for players with artifacts. Gary Cowan, a number of his trophies in there, the 66 and 71 US Open winner, Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes, modern players, so forth. And it's really neat. And it's neat to see even how those players reacted to it. I found a lot of those guys wandering the hallways and doing the exact same thing. They were looking
Yeah.
at the pictures and things like that. So we do have an invite to go up, so we definitely have to go up and see that, and definitely bring our sticks and have a look. So
Yeah. That was really interesting. It was fun. It was interesting to watch, and it was interesting to sort of check out the coverage when and the interviews with some of the players who saying, after day two, where somebody was 6 under after day two,
right.
for the
Yes.
round,
Yeah, I know
and
exactly where
basically
you're
made
going
the
with this.
comment
Yeah.
that, like, at any other event,
This might not make the cut.
this might not make the cut, and the
Yeah.
guy's basically in top five,
Yeah. Yeah.
after 2 rounds. And then for it to end with 5 under being the total, even
Yeah.
after there were people at 6 and 7 under after 2 rounds, you
Yeah.
might have started to think, okay, well, it's going to be one of those, 12 under, 11 under kind of deals. And then it wasn't.
No.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I think it's for the fact that it was the championship. So we'll almost call
Mhm.
it like a
Right.
major
Yeah,
on
it really is.
the PGA Tour America's tour.
Yeah.
I think it's fitting that the
Hmm.
course be as challenging as is, not be a walk in the park, and that there be some adversity that they have to face. I think as far as it being the host of the RBC Canadian Open, or the Canadian Open, whichever it is, I guess it's the RBC.
Yep, it will
Um,
be.
the RBC Canadian Open next year. I think that the numbers will be lower.
Oh, of course it will
I
be. Yeah.
don't think that when you're talking about PGA Tour level players, that even though I know PGA Tour America's there's a small difference between sort of the bottom end of the
Oh,
PGA
for
Tour
sure.
and the
Yeah.
top end. So I understand that, but at the same time, you put some of the top players in the world on a golf
Hmm.
course like that, they might have lower numbers, but I don't think it's going to be, I don't think you're going to see 21, 22 under
No,
I don't think we're
no.
going to see 27 under like we saw at East Lake,
No.
which was crazy because all everybody did was talk about how at East Lake
Mm,
it was going to be harder, and it wasn't. And
it
now I
wasn't even
don't know if
close.
the
Yeah.
if the wind had been up, if it would have made it tougher, but I think if the wind had been up anytime they played East Lake, it would have been tougher. I don't think the
Yeah.
course ended up being as difficult
No.
as people expected that it was going to be.
No. I would say, I will say we'll probably see, I don't know, I'm going to go 10 to 12 under
Yeah.
next year. And again, like I said, it was brutal as far as the conditions. It was windy and cold, and here for the Fortinet Cup Championship or whatever. But and you're obviously going to see a lower cut line, but yeah, it's still going to hold up, more than maybe some other courses have in Canada before. So, but yeah, it was great to go out there and see that, and yeah, it was part of a run within a few days where I got to run out and see some different events. So,
And you were also up at the Canadian All Abilities Championship, at Timber Ridge.
mhm.
It's been a long time since I've said that course name.
Both, I know, and it looks
Um,
fabulous.
does it good?
Jeremy Sizer, who's the superintendent there, has done a great job. I managed to chat with him for a bit, spend some time with Nolan Walsh, the head professional there, right from the fire pit in behind, just looking out, seeing how the bunkers are all changed. Just the environment there is way different than it may have been before, but that wasn't really the fascinating part. Obviously, getting out of the car and seeing that, and getting out on the course a little bit. Unfortunately, there was some rain that day, so I wasn't able to take as many photos as I hoped, but did see a lot of people. The Craig Hollits of the world, believe it or not. Craig was
Yeah,
out
and I know I heard
caddying.
Craig's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? The cool part was getting to meet a bunch of more of the athletes. I've met a number of the all abilities players before. I count a number of them as my friends. Seeing a guy like Rick Buck, who's a Special Olympian who I stay in touch with all the time. Tom Martineau from Kingston here, who was playing. But what was cool was just seeing the way these players were adapting to playing, and even Tom was saying that, and we end up on the back patio looking at videos of some other players, and they're almost mesmerized by each other of how other people play. When you have one arm, one leg, you use a prosthetic, you don't use a prosthetic, you're of short stature. I watched Joachim Bergman from Sweden play up the 18th hole, and this guy's a world-class player, and just watching him play, it was just like, okay, this is pretty good. His game is just remarkable. Met players from Australia as well. There was players there from Ireland, from the USA. The cool part and the continuing theme among it, which was my takeaway from it more than anything, and I put a post out there about it, but there was a lot of gratitude that sometimes you don't see in golf courses. I mean, we're also fortunate that we get to play the game, and unfortunately, a lot of us sort of take that for granted. We just go and we play, and we don't even cherish the rounds that we're playing, and we treat it just as something that we get to do all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're dealing with people that have all sorts of different issues and are facing all sorts of adversity, um, for the most part, they're just grateful to be there. The camaraderie is there. They're not worried about, yes, they want to compete. They don't want to make bogeys. They're just like everyone else in that way. But definitely saw a lot more people smiling. Didn't hear a lot of excuses, and it wasn't like I was seeing club tosses. There's just or a lot of respect for each other,
Yeah.
what the other ones do. And that was, like I said, that was the cool part. I was talking to one athlete, and they're watching the other one, and they're amazed at how they go about playing the game and how they adapt to play the game. And I think there's a lot of things to be learned for people to go out and watch that. And even from I was saying to Nick Starchuk, teaching professional, had teaching professional at the national, from originally from Canada. And I was just saying that a lot of golf coaches should go out there and watch that and realize the adaptions that are necessary for every person. And these are obviously the most extreme adaptions, but you have to realize that everybody's an individual and they've got to do things in their own way. So kudos to everybody in the field there. That wraps up today. And I'm looking forward to getting back out and maybe seeing the that same championship or the Ontario one sometime in the future.
Cool. Very cool. Well, I'm glad you had a chance to get up there
Yeah.
and see that. It's nice to see that the golf course is getting is gone back to what it was when Art was the original owner
Yeah.
of the facility and had his vision, and then how it kind of went sideways after that for a
Yeah.
while.
Gerard's done a great job there with as the owner, and brought in a great team, and making the investments, and making it a public golf course that's more about people being aspiring to go and play there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the focus again, versus just being a discount golf course or anything like that, which
Okay.
would happen there for a little while. So yeah, good on them for doing that, and fun to be there. And
Nice
again,
that they found their way. I like it. I
yes,
like
yeah,
it.
yeah, good to see you. So
Okay, the OVGA Ryder Cup is coming up at the Gatineau Golf and Country Club on Monday, September 16th. Now, this is a two-person team event for men and women.
Yep.
Where teams play 6 holes, each scramble, alternate shot, and better ball formats. So we say it's OVGA Ryder Cup. It's not two teams going head to head. It's teams of 2.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. It's similar to the event that my son Brandon and I played at Metcalf, which is a 2-person event, which we ended up winning. I'm not so sure that this would be. Yeah, what we did would not cut it.
Okay.
Would not cut it. Okay. The final regular event of the year is coming up also on Monday on the Flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa Tour. This is the PGA of Ottawa Fall Championship held at Stonebridge in the PN. Defending champions are James Spirnick in the open division, and Graham Gunn, surprise, surprise, in the senior division.
Exactly.
It's the first PGA event that's being back at this course since the renovation that shortened the course to a par 70 at 6,024 yards max.
Yeah.
Now, a good number of PGA candidates will be taking their last chance at their playability test. This is interesting because the reason it's interesting is because Brandon is my son Brandon is very into golf course architecture and golf course design and things like that. So he's always Google Earthing everything.
Sure.
And one of the things he does is he spends a lot of time looking at golf courses the way they are now, and then he'll follow the date line backwards to see what the golf course looked like originally and how much has changed. And this is one of the things he was looking at Stonebridge, because he saw some pictures of Stonebridge. He's like, yeah, that's got to be a bucket list course for me. And then he went and looked at the Google Earth of it, and he's looking at the layout, and he's like, all right, it's okay. It's got some nice, holes, nice designs. And then he starts going backwards. He scrolls all the way backwards to when it was originally built, which I played it the very first time when it opened, because we had a contest with Stonebridge back then, that the winner of the contest would get a round of golf, be the first one off the tee in a round of golf with myself and the head pro at the time at Stonebridge.
Peter
Hale. And that happened. And so we're looking at the golf course, and even I had to refresh my own memory of it, because I'm looking at the golf course going, oh my God, like
totally redesigned.
Oh, wow. Like, massive difference between this golf course and the original golf course, like massive difference.
Now, and that's I'm
not going to be all negative. I'll go negative Nelly about it, because it still looks, as I drive by it almost every day, it still looks gorgeous out there, especially the first hole on the other side of the road there. Beautiful hole. But I see a lot of how they shortened the course significantly and pushed in par threes to kind of get holes and changed green complexes. A lot of bunkers are gone from the original design. A lot of greens have actually reshaped into more normal sort of looking greens, as opposed to the original greens, which were very tiered, a lot of steps in them.
And Ted Robinson. Ted Robinson did the original design, who also did the front nine at Loyalist. And then Doug Carrick did a lot of the renovation work to make, and people have to understand, this is around a housing development, and this is part of the reason why things changed, why they gave up some yardage for lots and so forth. But super playable, and 6,000 yards at par 70 is equivalent to more like 6,400. For most people that's perfectly fine as far as playing that. So I mean, here's the thing, I think people fall in love with yardage, and they think because
fall in love with the golf course, not the yardage.
Well said. I mean, unfortunately, we saw that too much in the 1990s, where all of a sudden it was like, it's got to be 7,000 yards. Well, you know what? Nobody's back there. Really,
most people shouldn't be back there, even if they are.
Right. Exactly. We're certainly see more people teeing it forward and so forth. But it'll be interesting to see what the scores are like. It's unfortunately I'm not gonna play this one, but I think I'll get to that golf course at some time. And again, good luck to those candidates. I think I forget how many were in the field. Joe McLean sent me the list last night. I'm going to say it was probably at least 10 candidates, and this is important for these playability tests, because some of these candidates are they want to work indoors in the wintertime and so forth, and they want to start their PGA career. So they're trying to get that playability test in so they can start their jobs either next season or some work over the winter. And so good luck to them, and good luck to all the players in the field.
All right. The one last thing on the list of things to get you caught up on is what's been going on, or what is going on the Pro Tour circuit right now. I think there's a little too much to kind of push through before we have to take a break. So we're going to slide that into the back nine and go through it very quickly before we get to our Solheim Cup chat. So let's put a stop on it there. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll get into on what's going on the currently across all of the tours, and then we'll get into that Solheim Cup conversation. So stay with us. You are listening and watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Otter and Scott McLeod. We will be right back.
When you golf on Prince Edward Island, there are over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine. Not to mention countless miles of pristine beaches and a rich world-class culinary experience. So get here fast, then take it slow and play around on Island Time. Golf Prince Edward Island.
All right, well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast presented by Golf PEI. And we promised to move some stuff into the back nine. And we will do that, because we had some stuff we wanted to talk about in the front and didn't get to. So we'll talk about it in the back nine. Back nine presented this week by Falcon Ridge Golf Course, with 27 holes of fun and challenging golf. at great rates. Falcon Ridge Golf Club is the golfing experience you can't avoid, and that experience just got better by building the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. TrackMan Range is all about exciting, easy-to-use features that provide the ultimate range experience for every golfer at every level. That's practice, games, and virtual golf, all in one. To book tee times or to book one of the 10 TrackMan range bays, visit falconridgegolf.ca. Now, all right.
Before you know it, they'll be heading indoors too.
Well, that's the thing, eh? Like they're just going to do the shift: TrackMan outdoors, TrackMan indoors. So as soon as you're not able to hit balls outside, then you just at Falcon Ridge, you just kind of bring it on inside, and then they've got the TrackMan Sims, TrackMan Sims inside for you to use all winter. So
I think there was six new courses this week for TrackMan. So
beautiful.
I don't know.
Beautiful. Maybe one of them is Falcon Ridge.
Oh, that would be nice. They could do it.
Wouldn't that be the greatest thing? Hey, yeah, you go from would people?
Royal Ottawa does that.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true. That's true.
Royal Ottawa's available.
Would you want to play your local golf course in the winter? Maybe.
It's surprising how many people do. If you talk to the golf courses, there's a lot of places that just want to have their usual game, which is kind of
how much that would cost the course to do. Like I know what the TrackMan costs to have.
It's about $15,000 US. So
that's almost worth it
for some of them, for sure. I think it was the last time I spoke to them a while ago about it, and the process might have changed, but it was about 8 weeks for them to come out. They do a combination of Google mapping. They use LiDAR, drone stuff or whatever, and then they have a whole team over there in Denmark that goes through and builds the golf course out. So it's for some of the facilities, for sure, it makes sense. If you're already spending a lot of money on things anyways, and you want your golf course to be perfect and have it there, and like I said, Royal Ottawa has that. So I mean, it's fun.
There you go, Steve, Ryan. What do you think?
There you go. There you go.
Think? Do it. Okay. We said we'd get you caught up on the what's going on around the pro tours. And so let's start with the PGA Tour. Obviously, the FedEx Cup has ended, sort of.
Sure.
Scotty Scheffler wins the Mega Millions finally after 3 years of trying to. In his third go around, he finally does it. So congrats to Scotty Scheffler for that. But the PGA Tour starts the FedEx Cup fall in Napa, California, with the Procore Championship. Canadians in the field obviously include past champion and upcoming international President's Cup team captain Mike Weir.
Former winner here at this event.
Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes, Ben Silverman, Roger Sloan, Adam Svensson, and Nick Taylor. So interesting. Mike Weir tipping it up amidst the preparations for the. I gotta say, I'm a little surprised that he would be playing in a golf tournament so close to the start of the President's Cup, but
I think
maybe he's got it all sorted out.
Yeah, I think he's doing it for a number of reasons. One, he past winner at this event in 2007, so he's got a sponsor's exemption for it. There are a number of his international team players that are in this field, so he's using it as a mechanism to spend a bunch of time with the team members this week on top of playing. So that would be probably the reason why.
The Epson Tour is Tuscaloosa. Just look at Tuscaloosa actually exists.
It does.
Tuscaloosa Toyota Classic is in Alabama this week, and there's 3 Canadians in that field as well. Lee John, who had a third place finish last week on the Epson Tour, Maddie Zurich, and Brigitte Thibault.
Yeah, Leah's an interesting one. She turned pro late in the year. She played at UNLV. She's actually up to 53rd on their points list already after that third place finish last week. So no, good for her. So definitely a talent you want to keep an eye on for sure.
Now, as the FedEx Cup playoffs end and they crown a champion, the Korn Ferry Tour playoffs are starting with their 3-event playoff run to determine the top 30 who will earn PGA Tour cards. And that begins with the Simmons Bank Open in Tennessee. There are Canadians in that field as well. I'll let you sort of.
Miles Creighton,
I'm
Etienne
not going
Papineau,
here.
Will Bateman, and Sudarshan Yelamaraju, which is a name I've learned to spell and learned to say in the last bunch of years. A great player out of Mississauga. Creighton is actually 38th on that point list, and Bateman is 48th on that point
So they're
list. So
close.
they are close. They have the best chance to snag a PGA Tour card. They're trying to, all those players are obviously trying to stay in the top 75 to retain their fully exempt status on the Corn Ferry Tour. And this has important implications as well in regards to Q School and positions there as far
Right,
as
because
advancing.
they move ahead depending on how
Right.
high they finish in the playoff in their
Right.
playoffs. They move up in status, so
Yes,
they don't have to
exactly.
go through the same grind.
Right. So they move up in stages and so forth. So something to keep an eye on in the next few weeks. There's still time there, obviously, at 38th and 48th. Those are the ones that are closest. But, you know, you get a win in there, and a guy like Will Bateman or Sudarshan might, you know, hop up there pretty quickly. So we'll see how that plays out.
DP World Tour, Canada's Aaron Cockrell is in the field there at the Irish Open at the gorgeous Royal County Down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's spectacular, and I think a lot of people want to see this golf course on TV. I've seen tons of clips here. Been fortunate enough to play this golf course, and is definitely it's a hard golf course. It's a hard golf course, but spectacular.
Okay, now before we get to our Solheim Cup conversation, you had a few suggestions for some stuff to watch this week.
Yeah, so you know, a lot of people, because the tours are kind of winding down and some of their TV coverage, although I will mention that Corn Ferry Tour is going to be televised, you know, which is a little bit different that way. But if you're looking for a couple of things to watch, maybe on YouTube, and we get a lot of people that are looking that way, you'll catch a story today on the Cabot collection growing to include an investment now in Lofoten Links, which is a golf course in Norway. And this golf course has got a really, I mean, it just so happened I was looking at the press release, reading through the story, writing up some things on it, and I ran into this documentary from the very, very start. And this is really about a golf course in northern Norway that was kind of a dreamer facility where this guy's dad really wanted to, you know, build this golf course on his farm on the side of the Norwegian Sea. And this is a very rough documentary from, you know, it's in SD, it's, you know, dark, and it's kind of grainy and whatever, but it's a cool documentary about, you know, a dreamer building a golf course, and to know that it's progressed so much today, it's pretty good. And the other entertaining one I watched, I don't know if anybody's been watching the Bryson DeChambeau series, the Break 50 series.
Anybody who isn't watching, you're nuts. You got to be
You're
watching.
missing out. And I watched the one with former quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Romo, last night. And Romo is actually a pretty solid player. He plays in some North Texas PGA events.
No spoilers.
I will not spoil it, but give it a watch. It's highly entertaining. I think 50 minutes or so long, maybe an hour, but worth watching. So there's some entertainment watch.
I've watched a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
I gotta say, you know, I am kind of gotten to the point now with respect to Bryson that I'm completely looking way past the whole live. Like, I don't even live golf stuff. I don't even pay any attention to him with respect to live. He has just made himself a big dude in the world of golf with everything that he does, the breaking 50 stuff, all of his posts on social media that he does is like just funny, crazy stuff. And plays, you know, he plays in major championships.
Kind of won a U.S. Open.
Won a U.S. Open. Like the guy is just, you say, okay, I can't play on the PGA Tour. You know, that's a given. I made my choice. I got my money. I'm doing this over here, but I'm going to make myself, I'm going to embrace the golfing public. And I'm going to be the golfer that everybody loves. And they're just going to friggin' forget all about live golf after a while.
He's filling his time with things that he wants to do. And it's given him the freedom and the time to do this. So
exactly. If he were on the PGA Tour, there's no way he'd be able to do what he's doing to the level that he's doing, because he just wouldn't have the time.
No, he wouldn't. So and you know what? We might I might do that every couple of weeks or so. We'll pick out a couple different things that from online or whatever that people can pay attention to if they haven't already, and just give you some suggestions there. So in case you don't want to watch the regular golf on broadcast television.
So you're saying we should pick up a celebrity and local celebrity and try to break 50?
Sure. 50. Are we playing 9?
I didn't specify details, did I?
We could play 3, you and me and someone, and we could try to play.
Try to break 50.
Go front tees.
Then we'd just be ripping off Bryson, and I don't really
okay. All right.
It'd be kind of cool and everything, but yeah. All right.
Fair enough. Let's get to it.
Without further ado, we're going to chat a little bit of Solheim Cup. Now, we're not going to get really in depth into it, but we will have some discussions. So first of all, Europe has won or retained the last 3 cups. So let's get some facts. Let's get some facts out of the way. Europe has won or retained the last 3 cups. Yeah. It's being hosted this year in Gainesville, Virginia, at the Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. It's the 19th time.
Hard to believe, huh?
Yeah, I know. It is hard to believe.
Seemed like it just started.
The 19th time it's being played. It was held in 2023, but is returning to its rotation year. So there were those people wondering why we're having a Solheim Cup the year after a Solheim Cup. This is why, because they're putting it back into its regular rotation, which will essentially makes it opposite the President's Cup years and not in Ryder Cup years. So we have a President's Cup this year.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be running parallel to the President's Cup and opposite years to the Ryder Cup. Put it that way.
Correct.
Stacey Lewis is the captain of the U.S. team. Suzanne Pedersen is the captain of the European team. So there's
great captains there. That's for sure.
Very intense captains. I will
very
say.
Intense captains.
I gotta say, of the two captains that you could pick, there's 2 people that are very, very intense.
That's a good topic. It's like, could you find anybody that would be more intense than those 2? I mean, you could probably throw a few names out there, if you look in the past, whether it's a Beth Daniel or somebody besides, but you're right. I mean, to have those 2, there's no laissez-faire management style in those 2.
No. I think Stacey Lewis is probably a little bit more has a little bit more of an angry side to her. From all of the years that I've been watching Stacey Lewis play golf,
I was going to say the same thing about Suzanne Pedersen.
I don't know. I mean, Suzanne Pedersen, yes, but even when I've talked to Suzanne Pedersen before, so I haven't.
She runs hot. Oh, she does run hot.
But Stacey Lewis, I always found could be a little bit standoffish. As far as the conversing, like she just seems like she could, rub you the wrong way a little bit. Susan Pedersen, intense, fiery, but off the golf course, and it's just a little bit more personable, I think. And that's just my experience of meeting the 2 of them. So anyway. Okay, the competition schedule, it'll start on the 13th, Friday the 13th. Okay, I wonder how much weird stuff is going to be going on Friday the 13th with Jason masks and stuff like that at the we'll see kicks off with foursomes in the morning, 4-ball in the afternoon. Saturday, same thing, foursomes in the morning, 4-ball in the afternoon. And of course, the part that we all love most about these Solheim Cups, Ryder Cups, President's Cups, Ping Challenge Cups, all the cups,
pick a cup.
The singles player cup. The single event on Sunday, where the cup is won and lost, so to speak.
Pretty much. I mean, first off, what how much are you going to watch?
I will
truthfully
watch. I will watch a fair bit.
I know we're both busy.
It's the weekend, and yes, I'm busy. It's the weekend, but I'll watch. I'll probably watch more on Sunday. Than Friday and Saturday. Just because I could see myself
I could see myself second screening it a fair bit. Just kind of have it on the background or whatever, or keeping an eye on it on Twitter or whatever the case may be.
Saturday I have a pretty busy day, so I'll probably not see any of it on Saturday because I'm pretty much busy from 9 in the morning until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon with hockey stuff. So I probably won't see any of it. Friday I'll watch a bit of it. And Sunday I'll watch a fair bit of the singles, but you're right. It'll probably be like a 2-screen, background.
Keep an eye on
glancing
stuff.
over.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's really hard to kind of sit down and watch it from the start to finish. But probably on Sunday try to squeeze in as much as I can before I head out to see the Queen's Invitational and a bunch of Canadian college players playing.
There you go. So who are we watching, Scott? Who are we paying attention to? There's a lot of, I'm not going to say new faces, but there's a lot of, I mean, the landscape of women's golf has changed a fair bit. There's a lot of different women that are at the top of the lists now. And so there's a lot of, when you look at their, previous experience, the U.S. team only has 2 rookies.
Yeah, and same on the European side. They have 2 rookies as well.
So
I think this is complicated by the fact that you're 2023 and then you go 2024. So the teams don't change up by too much. But as you said, there's a lot of players here that have really risen in the last few years to kind of start to be a little bit more prominent.
I haven't been able. I kind of looked at the lists and I looked at all the statistics and all the metrics.
Sure.
And I don't really see where, I mean, we had this conversation last year. We sort of, laid out driving distance and all this stuff. And I don't think that there's, when I look at the rankings, I think overall the US's rankings are probably higher average ranking.
Yes.
Like a better average ranking than the European team. But I think the same thing applied last year in 2023. I think the US had sort of the better team on paper and lost. So I don't think that any of the statistics matter, really. I mean, I don't think there's just a statistic that I look at, whether it's overall record in singles, record in 4-ball. I don't think really any of that is going to make a whole lot of difference.
I think when you here's the thing, when you talk about experience, and we look at that a lot of the players on the European side have played a lot more cups and have gained more points, but I think once you play in one, I think that's you're sort of set, right? You don't quite have the nerves. There's always an added pressure if you're the host nation and you want to play well in front of your own fans. But I think once you play in one of these, then that's really most of the experience that you need. I don't think there's a lot of minutia that will separate the players. I think it's going to come down to who's playing well at the time. I'm a little interested about experienced players like Alexi Thompson. How is she going to play? This is going to be her last one. I mean, has she really done that well? I mean, she's her Rolex ranking now is at 46. A Jennifer Kupcho, who's played well in the past or okay in the past, but
hasn't played well as of late.
No, and you got a Sarah Schmelzel who he's a rookie here, who's the lowest ranked player on their team. So do you protect that player by putting them and pairing them with somebody else? You can't protect them in singles, unfortunately. So you have to just develop as much of a lead as possible. I mean, I know the storylines are really going to on the US side, it's going to be focused a lot on Nelly. I mean, she's the #1 player in the world. She's got a winning record in this, and obviously from her Solheim Cup experience, she's played in 3 of them before. And then, as I said, a lot of people are going to focus on Lexi. She's played in 6 of these before. Is she going to go out with a real bang, or is she going to go out with a whimper as far as this Solheim Cup is concerned?
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing. And I mean, the one thing I didn't do, and I apologize for not doing a little bit more in-depth research on this, I probably should have, was I'm looking at the players that were selected. So the players that made it on the basis of their Rolex ranking. So it's kind of like, so there's earned spots basically on the Solheim Cup point standings, and then there's earned spots based on Rolex rankings, and then there's earned spot as captain's picks. So when you look at the ones that were chosen as captain's picks, and you look at Sarah Schmetzel, and being 61st Rolex ranked in the world, where this is the players that were selected for the team. So where did everybody else slot in that didn't make it? Who were the players that were passed over? Because we looked at this with respect to the President's Cup, and we said, okay, well, Weir took this person, but these 3 players were ranked significantly higher and played better going into the event. So what's the logic and the strategy here? So I am curious of the picks that were made, the ones that did not make it on the basis of ranking.
Right. Like the ones
which
that
ones didn't make it that were ranked higher.
Yeah, like because I mean Lexi was 14th in the points, but they took her, did they take her based on experience?
I think Lexi is a legacy pick. I really do. I believe that
so
she's
too.
picked because this could be her last one.
It will be.
She's playing well enough that it's not a bad pick, and she has a crap ton of experience.
Plus, she can drive it super far compared to other players, which could be helpful in a partners event.
And you look at all her records and that kind of stuff. She's 9-7-7. But she has a losing record or a kind of balanced off record in singles. So it's not like she's 0-6 in singles in her 6 years. So it's not like she's like terrible.
No.
So I don't think that Lexi's a bad pick from the standpoint of sometimes it's just the right pick to make.
Yeah. Well, I wonder you look at Sarah Smeltzel. I mean, I don't know what the intangibles are with her. And again, I'm the same. I apologize for not looking, but she was 11th in points. But is there something within her game that Stacey Lewis likes or wants? Like we talked about with Mackenzie Hughes being a pick for International Cup. Is there an aspect of her game, be it short game, putting, so forth, or a pairing? Maybe there's another player that she bonds well really with and will make a good partner in the event. There's so many other little intangibles. So you're right. You'll wonder why some players were chosen and other ones weren't. And, that's obviously the prerogative of the captain to make that choice. Maybe it's based on the golf course. It could be a number of different factors that are in there. But, I think in this one versus the International or versus the President's Cup, I think this one will make a little bit more, could make potentially more difference, because I think these battles tend to be a little bit closer, although the US has to get on its horse here after not winning a cup in the last three tries. So
I apologize for just for looking away here, and I am paying attention, but I just got to take a quick look up, and I don't actually see anybody in the Solheim Cup points standings that is not that didn't get in that would have gotten in. Like Lexi got in ahead of Cheyenne Knight,
right?
But other than that, everybody else.
And there's a disparity in
now. The only other one I would say, the only other one is Angel Lin, Angel Yin,
right? Angel,
she did not. Yin.
Yeah, Angel.
Yeah. So she didn't get in.
Okay.
I'm just looking.
And now I can see the Cheyenne Knight one because no offense to Cheyenne, but she taps it off the tee.
But Angel Yin is 8th in points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, how do you pass over?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And she went up 4 positions in points.
Yeah.
Prior to the whereas Lexi didn't move anywhere from 14th. Kupcho Kupcho was 12th and she dropped. Schmeltzel was 11th and she dropped. Allison Lee was 10th and she dropped. Rose Zhang was 9th and she dropped. But Angel Yin jumped up 4 spots and got nothing. And and then there's other people like Andrea Lee. Andrea Lee is ahead of Angel Yin. So why? Yeah. We won't know the answer unless we ask Stacey Lewis, but why?
Right. But I think you're right that Lexi Thompson, smells of a legacy pick for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not so sure that I hate the idea of that. I think veteran players. I mean, if you look at the players on the team, she has 6 Solheim Cup team appearances. Like that's double the next most number of appearances. Sure. So I don't think that having a player who can play as a veteran on a team with a couple of rookies, like I don't know that that's a negative thing. Yeah, really.
I just don't want to be her partner when she has to make a 3-footer.
Although she did step up last year. She stepped up and played well. Then she was playing against she was playing against Singanda, wasn't she?
Oh, Carlotta Singanda,
who's also played in 6 Solheim Cups.
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know.
Very interesting. So, I mean, you know, the only problem I have with things that are, have appearances of legacy picks, and these get harder once you get out of those top players and you get into those picks, it's a real risk for that captain.
Yeah.
Because if all of a sudden this gets really, really close and it comes down to that player, look, it's not life and death. So, if they happen to lose because Lexi misses a putt, the world's not going to end. Right. And,
No.
she gets, it's good for everything as far as her career going out and so forth. And it's supposed to be somewhat fun or whatever. But if your prerogative is to win as much as possible, you could either look brilliant or you could look really, really dumb here for making that choice. So, yeah, but that's on Stacey Lewis. So, Europe.
Well, Europe is an interesting one because Europe, there's only two players. Sorry, there's only one player on the European team that's in the top 10 in Rolex ranking. By one, yeah, that's Boutier.
Oh,
Celine Boutier is ninth in Rolex ranking right now, and the next closest person is Charlie Hull at 11th.
Yeah, you're right. Their average Rolex ranking is 40.5.
Yeah.
So which compared to the Americans, they're at 26.75. So they're definitely the lower ranked, but whether those rankings mean a lot,
I don't think the rankings mean jack all, really. I mean, I just don't think so. I think when it comes down to this
level of play,
it's two people against two people. And then you can call it a team game if you want, but it's only from a team game perspective. It's the two people that are playing the two people. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. And then it's the Sunday singles. It's mano a mano, head to head, and it's how much of a lead do you have going into singles is going to dictate whether or not you've got to walk in the park on Sunday or whether you've got to grind, right? And it usually ends up being a grind.
I find it interesting, though, if you look at the Solheim, I mean, you look at the rankings, but you look at the Solheim Cup points and the rankings of some of their players, they're pretty far down there on the European side. So, again, they've obviously chosen some players here based on experience. They were on the team last year, be it Emily Peterson or a Madeline Sagstrom. But, they haven't played... They haven't played great.
You look at Anna Nordqvist. Anna Nordqvist is ranked 71st ranked, 45th in Solheim Cup points. She's played in 8. This will be her 9th Solheim Cup. Why is she there?
I don't know. I mean, her overall record's great, but if you're talking about an overall record that consists of a lot of points that were earned 15 years ago.
Yeah.
How is that relevant today?
I mean, Georgia Hall is kind of in a similar situation. I mean, 41st ranked, 23rd ranked in Solheim Cup points and, played in 4.
Well, Emily Peterson, that's the one at 103rd in the Rolex ranking. She's the lowest ranked player in all of this. Yeah. She was 56th in their points. She's played in 3 of those, but she doesn't have a winning record. She has a winning record in 4-ball, but that's it. Her overall record is 5-6-1. So it's like, do you not have another player? I mean, maybe they were trying to shy away. Maybe Suzanne Pedersen didn't want many rookies on this team, but
could be,
maybe
it could be a strategy. It could be nothing more than strategy, thinking that the veterans are going to step up and even though there's only a couple of rookies,
right?
Some of the U.S. players have only played in 1. This will be their second one.
You're right. So they're almost rookies.
So who knows how it's going to play out? I have no preconceived notions about it. So
I think there's too much. I think there's sometimes too much emphasis, though, on stuff that happened a long time ago, and it happens all over the place. We sort of forget that, that player has been around for this and this and this. Yeah, but if something happened 11, 12 years ago, I mean, as well as I, a player's form can change in a matter of weeks. And yes, experience is great, but just because somebody did something in 2013 doesn't make them great in 2014.
Exactly. All right. Well, based on all of that, our prediction of how the Solheim Cup is going to go is we have no idea.
No, but it'll be fun to watch.
It's going to be enjoyable to watch. Quick look we got about 3 or 4 minutes here. Quick look at the sort of official yardage.
Yes.
Whether it is or whether it isn't, they're putting out there that they're playing it at 6,700 yards, 3,400 and 3,200 or 3,300 respectively. It looks like they're playing for the most part the first hole is a 430-yard par 4. It says it's pretty much playing it at the 430 marker.
Yeah, I think what they've done is that if you look at it, the holes that have some varying, they have two T2 available are the ones that, are as a second tee, are the ones that they know could make some difference in the match. And most significantly would be 8 and 10, which are two holes that all of a sudden 8 they can make into a very short par 5, and then 10 they can make it into a drivable par 4. So I think those are, the middle of the match. They can make them interesting. They decide to do that. We'll see what days that they decide to make use of those tees. Is it the final day, or is it something earlier in the match? That's going to be up to Stacey Lewis to kind of sort that out as far as setting that up. But I think that's where they're trying to make some action happen, shortening up those 5s and making a par 4 drivable, which they did in Spain last year as well.
All right. So I would say at this point that concludes our Solheim Cup discussion, albeit not terribly in-depth, but in-depth enough to give you a little bit of insight into where we stand on how things will shape up. Nevertheless, it's going to be an exciting weekend of golf for those that want to watch the Solheim Cup. I encourage you to do so. Bottom line, men's, women's golf makes no difference. It's all awesome to watch, especially at the highest level. So
definitely,
check it out. Okay. That's going to be it for us. Scott, thanks for this. Fun as always.
Thanks.
Episode 98. We got 99. And then maybe we have Wayne Gretzky on as a guest. And then no. Okay. We do have episode 100 coming up. So we're going to have to do some planning, figure that out.
Maybe.
But, awesome show. Thank you very much for this. Thanks to all our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and of course our presenting sponsor. We can't do it without you. All you sponsors, especially our presenters. Golf PEI, Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in Canada. With over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences, it is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. Book your golf vacations and tee times at golfpei.ca. Obviously, we hope that you've been enjoying hearing and watching us and the Flagstick podcast. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode. That is where you will find the Flagstick Academy instruction. And that continues to be a very popular part of what we do, presented by our good friends at Castleview Golf and Country Club. And I think what's this week? This week's tip was eye line.
Eye line, yes.
Eye line. Get the right eye line.
Eye line.
Putting, more short game stuff. More short game stuff to continue. So get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content published every single day, and subscribe to Flagstick Digest newsletter and get all that information pumped into your inbox 3 times a week, so you will know what is happening as soon as we know what is happening. Thanks very much. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
And I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.